Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whenever the fuck you're watching this episode. Another episode of the Blitz brought to you by Backyard Sports. I mean, I'm really the new addition. I don't know who I am to even try to talk shit. Yeah, it's good to be back.
It's good to have you
Missed
back,
you
homie.
guys.
It's good to have you back.
The
So?
fucking shot clock missed you.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. Yes,
Listen,
it did.
stayed up to the wee hours watching the episode. I mean, fucking, I probably wouldn't have if I was there, and it's okay. Capri Suns are fucking out. I already know. I'm going to have to hit the grocery store. We're going to need new Capri Suns. All the cookies are fucking gone, you ungrateful shits. All right. Fair enough. Let's get to work. Week 11. Starts off with a fucking bummer, dude. Bengals, Ravens, 34-20. We didn't get a chance to make these picks, so we don't have the updated scores.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the season's kind of fucking shot here.
Yeah.
Anyways, I felt good. Felt good going into the back half of the season. But anyways, what's your takeaway for the Bengals? I mean, Joe Burrow.
Bummer. I mean, you said the right word, right? Like, even as a Ravens fan, right? A win against a division rival, but you lose Mark Andrews. And
Right.
with the Bengals, it's unfortunate because it's a non-contact injury for Joe Burrow, but it's not like your typical non-contact injury, right? He tore a ligament throwing. And it's weird because these aren't injuries that we typically see with football players, right? When Ben Roethlisberger tore his UCL, when Brock Purdy tore his UCL, those were contact, but those are typically baseball injuries, right? Those are the Tommy John injury. For anybody out there that doesn't know, the UCL is the ligament in the elbow when Tommy John surgery usually comes, as a result. But he tore a ligament in his wrist, and you saw him walking into the game. They caught he had an apparatus at least on his wrist. So is this something that dragged over from last week? It's been an unfortunate lost season for them. And the last 3 weeks, we've kind of been talking about the fact that, like, are the Bengals doing what they always do, right? They kind of spot the rest of the league 3 weeks, and then they get hot and they're in the AFC Championship game, right? Or they're in the Super Bowl. The last 2 years, that's what they've done. And then Burrow goes down, and you don't know what it is. There's a lot of jokes about Carissa Thompson and Joe Burrow being fine. I don't know if anybody caught that Twitter fire, but that was interesting. After she admitted to making up a lot of her sideline reports. I don't know why she does it, but it sucks, man, because we're losing 2 stars of the game. I want to talk a little bit about the hip drop tackle, and I'm curious. I'm going to kind of throw this to you folks, and Mode probably has some thoughts on it as well. But the NFL came out, and usually this happens when a star gets hurt, right? Brady with the knee, they took the low hits out of the quarterback position. Antonio Brown with the high hits. The 2016 Steelers really took the head hits out of the game. How are they going to regulate the hip drop tackle? Because I'm gonna be completely honest about this, and for all of you offensive minded folks out there, understand that I say this from a place of I'm a fantasy football fucking junkie. I've got 9 fucking fantasy football teams. All right, so I want as much offense as anybody else out there. Unless you tell the offensive players like you're going to be flagged for fighting for an extra yard, you're never going to take this tackle out of the game. It's impossible, because this tackle is created by the fact that the defensive player is trying to stop the momentum of the offensive player, while the offensive player is trying to carry his own momentum and the defensive player. And that's what creates this whiplash effect on the hip drop tackle. And that's what causes knees, legs, hips to fall on the legs of the offensive player and creates this injury. It is super unfortunate. I don't want to diminish the fact that the Ravens are losing maybe their best offensive player, not named Lamar Jackson. But how are we going to regulate the hip drop tackle in football? We're already asking the refs to do too much, and they're not good enough at their job.
You're not. And I don't calling it the hip drop tackle is fucking stupid because
right, you're putting a stupid name on it too.
It's a tackle. They're trying to label it in order to enforce some fucking weird thing that doesn't exist.
They need a name for the rule.
It's a tackle by a guy who's on a guy who's in motion. That's really what it boils down to be. So, dude, when I saw hip drop tackle, I was like, the fuck is hip drop tackle? It sounds like a WWE move. It's not real. This is simply you're trying to tackle a guy who's trying to fucking not be tackled. Like, it's going to happen. You can't regulate it. We have way too many caution tape type of tackles that we already can't fucking regulate in the NFL. And now this is the most ludicrous of them all. So no, it's not a thing. It just keeps getting worse. We can't protect everybody, right? Like you can't fucking save them all. It's unfortunate. It sucks. Listen, I'm on the receiving end of this. In my league, I don't just get outscored in every week. I have Mark Andrews, and I don't have a backup. I don't have a plan. We're just
I'm already position.
I've already been missing Justin Jefferson, so I get it. I do. But it is what it is. We're not going to regulate it. On to the Bengals. They're fucked, right? I mean, what Jake Browning? I don't know what we do from here. I know that, like, for you fantasy owners, Jamar Chase is probably QB proof, but this is a guy who's like a 27-year-old rookie. Yeah, it's grim. And you have 3 teams ahead of you in the standings currently. I mean, it's tough. We got like 8-3, 7-3, and like a 6-4. So you're 5-5, bud, and you just lost your best player.
Yeah, this team is so built around Joe Burrow, right? They don't recover from this. They may finish the season with 5 wins, right? That's the difference. Joe Burrow, right? Keep it on camera. Jake Browning's not on camera, right? Like he's just not.
Right, he's not. He's not in that level of your house.
Exactly, right? Like he's not, and it's not a knock on him. He was never going to be an NFL starting quarterback. But like you're asking a guy to come in now with a playoff ready team, with a potential Super Bowl ready team. It's not going to happen, right? I do want to shout out Jamar Chase, though. Fuck you for that garbage time touchdown. I lost by 0.9 points in that league, you motherfucker.
I saw that it was that much. It was ridiculous. So Gary loses by like 0.9 points. And
what a killer.
I lose to I either score the most points or I lose.
You lost to the only team you could have lost to.
No, there was another one. There ended up being another one ahead of me by like 3. But this is every week, so it's fantasy.
We are fantasy disasters in that dynasty league.
I'm 10 points out of first place and I'm in 6th place.
Right. It's crazy.
Cute.
Oof, fellas.
Love.
I'm still in the playoffs and you've outscored me by I think 100.
I've outscored a few teams by more than 100. One of the teams I've outscored by like 200.
Yeah.
So it's
and I think they're in like 3rd place.
It's awesome. Listen, we're 1-2 in the other league though.
We are.
Let's keep it going.
We are. Let's keep that going for sure.
You in a fucking 3-point PPR league? Like, what are you talking about? 200 points, dog.
No, it's just been matchups, man.
It's just matchups. Like if I don't score the most points, I probably played the person who scores the most points. So, like, I have
that in another league.
Just for instance, I lost 149 to 141. Okay, and then like the other matchups were like 132 to 104.
I lost 101 to 100.
Gary lost 101 to 100. Yeah. There was a 121 to 117. Then there was a 140. Somebody scored 144, and they actually edged out a 139. But I mean, it's been
tough go.
It's been pretty nuts. Like I have the first place team has 1,475 points. I have 1,465. Second place has 1,315. So I got them by like a cool $130. Yeah. Third place has 1,200 and something. So like I almost have 200 there. Yeah, it's wild.
Crazy. Yeah, Eagles. That was a big win for them last night. We're gonna talk about that though. I have some thoughts on the Eagles still.
Well, to no one's surprise, the Cowboys beat the Panthers 33-10.
Yeah.
Panthers are bad.
Panthers are bad, dude.
They are bad.
Panthers are real bad.
Listen, I have one statement I want to make, and Raul, I don't know if you've changed your thoughts on it, but for all you folks out there on TV talking about Dak is playing the best quarterback of anyone in the league, like, come on, guys. Like, if you missed how bad he is and the losses they've had, they got boat raced in their most recent loss. Like, come on. He's not playing the best quarterback in the league.
I mean, they lost to Arizona. What the fuck else is there to talk about?
Right. I mean, come on.
Stop. Just
Jesus Christ.
Erroneous on all accounts. He beat the Panthers. You beat a fucking JV NFL team.
Right.
Anyways, Steelers, Browns, fucking nail biter to the knuckles. And the Steelers have just been a pest all season to anybody. That defense is legit.
Got fired?
And
I think that's going to fix it.
Good days ahead, according to the internet. But I mean, is that really the cure-all for what's going on in Pittsburgh?
Too.
I mean, I think at least with that move, what you do is you so it wasn't working, and it's probably not necessarily all Canada's fault. I mean,
right?
Kenny Pickett's your quarterback, so there's that. But I do think it kind of keeps the fan base at bay a little bit, like we saw this last week with another AFC team, and now it's going to look like that one worked. But I just you have to kind of keep things in check, and if somebody's disposable, by all means dispose of them if their area isn't working. So I mean, at least they'll get some rave reviews, and I don't know. That was a fucking terribly hard game to watch, though.
Yeah. Shout out DTR though, won his first game as a rookie quarterback. Super emotional after the game. I liked him at UCLA. I didn't love when he got drafted by Cleveland because obviously they've got the log jam with the $250 million they've paid Deshaun Watson. But I think DTR can play in this league, and we'll see. The Canada thing is interesting, and I thought you were going to kind of go this direction when you started out with kind of what it creates. But it creates a situation where now, if you're the Steelers and it doesn't work, you can move on from your first-round quarterback, right? You can move on and say, it's not working. We tried to change things on the offense. He missed a wide open, I believe it was George Pickens, but late in that game, they had a chance to go up with a touchdown and basically put Cleveland on ice. And he moved. What was astonishing to me is he moved through his progression. You can see his helmet turn from left to right, and he looks right past a wide receiver who's screaming across the middle of the field on like a drag / skinny post route toward the end zone, and he just misses him, flat out misses him. And those are the sorts of things that, like, for those that have talked about Kenny Pickett, like, those are the problems that he's having in terms of being able to process the game. What this creates then is a situation where, as a GM, as a head coach, you can move on from a first-round quarterback now and say, who's the next guy? Are we going to draft somebody? Or Mac Jones might be available at the end of the season, right? Do you think you can maybe kick the tires on him? Is Josh Dobbs going to be a free agent? You can go out and they know Dobbs. Obviously, he didn't work out in Pittsburgh then, but like, that's what it creates for this GM now is like, we changed offensive coordinators. This isn't working. If the running game still struggles, right? Because that's been the knock right now with Najee Harris. Can't seem to get it going. And it's a lot of like missed blocking schemes or just kind of vanilla play calls. That's what it creates. You can start moving on from some of these players that you drafted in the first and second round and rebuild those positions, because that's where you need to get to. If you're, if you don't have a quarterback in this league, you can't win. I don't care how good your defense is. Now, today, the Trent Dilfers of the world aren't winning Super Bowls.
I do think, though, like, Pittsburgh has one of those organizations, right? One of those fan bases where I feel like there's probably 5 or 6 teams in the league that have it's kind of hard to word, that have a franchise that is heavily influenced by the fans, right? So Pittsburgh is one of them to me. I think they always have been. I think that they legitimately, truly care about what their fan base thinks. And I think the fan base, from what I've seen, seems to like Pickett for whatever fucking reason that may be. And like now they have a winning record. What if they win 10 games? And the fan base likes the kid. I don't know how easy it is to walk away from that because everybody's just going to be like, well, Canada sucks.
Yeah.
He was the problem. It doesn't matter. We're talking about a guy who has 6 fucking touchdown passes. He has 6 touchdown passes.
Yeah. So on that note, I have kind of 2 stats. One to address my dad's comment in the chat, but one to address what you just mentioned.
I missed the comment.
Tommy DeVito has 2 multi-passing touchdown games this season. Kenny Pickett has 1. Tommy DeVito has more than Kenny Pickett in terms of multi-passing touchdowns. And the coaching getting dumped mid-season, sometimes we see this. It's head coaches often that are on like the Black Monday chopping block. But fun stat about the Steelers. The last time that they fired a coordinator or head coach mid-season was before World War II. It was 1941. What's even funnier about that is that
stop knowing that
the coach that got fired was also the co-owner of the team, so he fired himself.
I mean, that's admirable. It's like falling your own sword.
Blame Canada. Canada.
He did blame Matt Canada.
I just think I do to address Senior. I'm okay with the mid-season shit. Like if it ain't working, it ain't working. And especially if it's a scenario like with a coach that's already had seasons.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's the wrong fucking guy. And in this case, I don't think I'm not saying that it should be Tomlin because I think that's insane. But there are scenarios where like sometimes the offensive or defensive coordinator falls on the sword of the head coach. And then that's kind of bonkers. Like that's
what happened in Buffalo.
I mean, that's what I think that, but
that's what happened in Buffalo. Buffalo's a top 5 offense, man. You're gonna fire your offensive coordinator like he's the problem?
He was the problem. Every Bills fan in the world told me for the last 3 weeks.
Hey, here I am. I'm here. Found me.
Found him. He was that purdy one over there in the corner.
Well, I'll tell you what's not a purdy one is Detroit squeaking out a victory against the Bears, 31-26 in Detroit.
Yeah.
They have 2 problems.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
And one is Aaron Glenn, the defensive coordinator. I've been saying it. I don't know if Raul, if you were here on the show that I brought it up to Gary where he was gone. He was fucking France resistance head in the basket last season, and then they went on that rip, and everybody forgot how inept he is. And then now this year, they're winning games, and in a couple of those games against really bad fucking offenses, like the Falcons game was one, they looked good defensively. And now everybody's forgotten again. And then something like the Ravens happens, and people are like, oh, it's the Ravens. They were just really good. Everything was clicking, and we justify it and we move on. There were some really, really bad moments there. But also we got to take a sneak peek at what I was critical of 2 years ago. And that is what Jared Goff can still do. And that is be really fucking pedestrian. Like he was bad. I don't know. He's so bad to the point that the running thing right now is NFL fans like want him investigated for point shaving, which I think is dumb. However, it's now a narrative. The first pick he threw, I thought, Laporta got taken out by a linebacker running his route. I don't, that's a thing where the quarterback's thrown to the spot where the guy probably is if he doesn't get hit crossing. I don't want that flagged. Secondly, the second interception he threw directly to a fucking bear. Like there was no nothing.
Yeah.
And then he just continued, and he had 2 more where he tried. I mean, there was they got a touchdown. Gibbs scored it, and he tried to throw the fucking ball for like a 98-yard interception return, and luckily the defensive player was the defensive player because he can't catch. We saw some things. Now to come back, I mean, that's on the team. That's on Dan. Goff had his moments in the comeback, obviously, but I've been saying it, man. This team has played a soft schedule, and while I'm happy they have 8 wins, I don't see it long term. I think they can win 12 or 13 games because the schedule's that easy. They're going to play Green Bay. They're going to play Minnesota twice. They're going to play the Saints. They're going to play the Broncos, and they have another game against the Bears. Like that's 6 very winnable fucking games.
Yep.
So, like, if you do that math there, they can win 14 games, and I wouldn't even be surprised. But they might get bounced in the first round of the playoffs when they have to play a tough team. So, that's the Lions we're with.
Kind of answered my question that I had there, summed up in the narrative. But the, yeah, I mean, similar to the Dolphins, can be good teams. So, you know, similar situation. They look great on paper, and they look great against bad teams.
Yeah,
Cowboys,
sometimes you got to win
example.
ugly, though, right? Like, I think on the flip side of that coin, I'm not going to disagree with anything Andy said because it was an ugly game. It was Jared Goff at his worst. It was Jared Goff reminding the nation that he can be Jared Goff sometimes. But there are games, right? Good teams are going to have these kind of games where things just don't bounce right. Things are going all against you. Things are going wrong, and you're looking really bad against a bad team. And then because you're the better team, you're able to eventually, right, like level the scales and then finally find a way to win, right? It doesn't feel good. They
lucked out. I mean,
I'm not telling you, Andy, that you need to feel good about this.
No, there's a lot of things that went right in the last.
But I'm saying that this happens sometimes, man. Sure. We've seen the good teams, the Patriots, the Chiefs, the Packers for a long time in the NFC North, man. How many times Rodgers gets carted off the field and he's back in the second half and suddenly they're a different team. Like you have the Colts with Peyton Manning. He'd have a bad first half and suddenly they turn it on in the second half. Good teams find ways to win these games when things aren't going right. And I think if there's any silver lining, right, to take from this game, that's what it is, right? It was ugly. Goff looked like shit. The defense couldn't do anything against that Bears offense. Justin Fields looked like a quarterback, which isn't something we can say about him very often. But when all is said and done, the Lions got a win against a division foe, 31-26, right? It was an ugly win. It's one more in the W column. As you said, it's great to have 8 wins.
But it was against a bad team.
Right. And you've got to win ugly sometimes in this league.
That's the scary part. Like when –
Sure. And that's why Andy's right? This could be a team that loses in the first round of the playoffs.
And, I agree with Gary. I'm not off of the wagon of what's happening here. I just think, and I said it a couple weeks ago, I think they're a season away. And
sure. The hype's too much.
I urge people to be cautious.
Yeah.
Because at this point, it's the reason I picked them to lose to the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't proven. And even in that game, they didn't make anybody feel that much better. I mean, we knew they could score.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's just something to chew on. Again, I'm not off of them. I don't want to be like fucking Randy Quaid in Major League. I'm not quite there. But, like, I'm cautiously optimistic of the resume thus far.
That's a phenomenal fucking reference, by the way.
Well, listen,
hated it.
I think 25 minutes into the show, we're not even past the first row of games. No, go back because I'm gonna because since we're already off the wagon, 25 fucking minutes, bud. We can't even get through the top row in 25 minutes. Okay,
that's your job.
So now I'm gonna segue into something a little deeper. Because we were just talking about teams that are fucking not as good as advertised. And Tom Brady on Stephen A. Smith's show today quoted saying, I think there's a lot of mediocrity in today's NFL. So, I mean, while we're on the subject, agree, disagree, thoughts? I mean, I don't think he's wrong, but I feel like it's also the internet, social media, hype, expectations. Everything's overstated. It's just different than it was back then.
Good point, Rob.
Hell yeah, brother.
But, no, listen, I agree 100%.
Miller Lite to that, baby.
Yeah, I agree 100% with Brady. We've talked about it on this show that like there are. How the fuck does Brandon Staley still have a job?
There's a mid-season adjustment.
Like I don't know that we need to go any farther than just that to say like, yep, Brady's right. There's a lot of mediocrity in this fucking league right now.
I think, okay, so the only way, and again, I agree with you, you know I do, we talk about it all the time, to play devil's advocate, I think the reason Staley has a job is because look at the franchise we're speaking of. Like
That's fair. That's fair.
The Bolts, like I do.
Fair.
How invested are they in winning? Because I've watched the team closely for years who didn't give a fuck about winning. The Lions didn't care about winning until, Hamp took over for her mother. Brady's thing, while I do agree with what he's saying, I don't agree with like the narrative he's trying to push, which is it's mediocre right now, but it wasn't when I played.
Yeah.
Like,
he's trying to separate himself from his generation.
Can always say that, right? I mean,
back in my day.
Right. He got real fucking Clint Eastwood on us. So while I do agree with what he's saying, I think that I would have agreed 10 years ago. I don't love what he's trying to feed. It's like all the 80s era NBA players who were like,
it's too soon.
League sucks. You guys wouldn't survive in my day.
Yeah, like Bud, you fucking were playing against a carpenter who just punched you in the face if you were going to score. It wasn't like he was a good defender. So, yeah, I don't like where
the local YMCA back in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah,
right. But let's also not act like
tries to score on me. I'm going to elbow him in the mouth. Randy, you see that, Randy? Elbow him. That's what they're really fucking saying, because the defense wasn't better in the 80s than it was in the 90s. Yeah, I mean, I digress.
Right. I just think it's too soon for Brady to be talking that shit. He played for a long time, so he can say back in my day, but he's also played so recently that he was surrounded by it.
This is a good point, too.
That is a good point.
Because there's literally a rule in the NFL called the Brady rule.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's the perfect fucking analogy is the whole Clint Eastwood back in my day fucking yada yada. Like, they made a rule for you, bro.
When people bitch about like this quarterback's flopping around on the ground, calling for flags every play, they reference him to Brady every time.
Every time.
The Bolts don't have any power.
Yeah. Dad jokes. Fuck yeah.
I do think that Brady is strategically setting himself up, though, for his TV contract. If he's going to be the controversial guy and be honest and be transparent on the broadcast, people are going to love it.
I feel like it's going to be too easy for him to be the heel,
And I think he's going to embrace that role.
Well, because everybody already fucking hates him.
Right?
He's the GOAT. It doesn't matter. There's nobody to fucking like, what are you going to do? Go out-goat him? Shut up.
I don't know, man. Sometimes, like, when I'm watching these interviews with
another supermodel.
Who the fuck was he there was just one I saw, and I can't remember who the hell it was, a young quarterback. And they were like, do you have any questions?
CJ Stroud.
Oh, CJ Stroud. Tom Brady.
On the Brady Let's Go podcast.
Yeah. Yes, bro. That's the one it was. Some of the answers that he gave me, like, it wasn't given to me, but to America, he's fucking kind of like the Will Smith of the NFL. I don't like Tom Brady's corny as shit.
He is a cornball, man.
He is.
You got to treat it like it's your job.
Yeah, shut the fuck up, dude. Like, who?
Yeah,
that's so weird.
Yeah,
he's a weird.
I do like the part that he alluded to, like blocking out the noise, though. Like, that's a thing that does kill a lot of professional athletes. The noise. The people coming out the woodwork, the handouts, that sort of stuff.
I'm not saying the shit he said wasn't cool or relevant.
Ball, man.
Some of the way, like, his fucking eyes would light up all weird, and he'd say,
it's real. It's real fucking like Garth Brooksy level detached.
Yeah.
You're like, you're such a fucking famous guy that you've just lost your, like Matthew McConaughey, prime example. Somebody who's just kind of lost touch. Dude, it's just all too much. It's too much.
Bryson DeChambeau talking about the fucking strokes from the Red Tees, where we were talking about that earlier. Like, the fuck planet is this guy? I can drop 30 strokes by moving up fucking 20 yards. Sign me up.
Yeah, right. Keep my coach's name out your fucking mouth.
Yeah.
Tom Brady.
Hell yeah. Speaking of the Bolts, not paying the bills, got disconnected. Green Bay gets away, 3-point victory, 23-20.
You hate to see it, right? Green Bay winning. Fuck.
Yeah.
Hate to see it.
I don't have any skin in that game anymore.
It's my least favorite thing of all time.
The Chargers are just such a fucking shit show, man.
The Packers?
Yeah, them winning. Yeah, I don't like it.
You've
had a rough history.
Listen, the only thing
they won some fucking games, dude.
The only thing that comes from this is like, did you see Austin Eckler get run down on the sideline? I don't know if you caught the highlight or not, but like, he looks slow, and I hate that because I'm a fucking Austin Eckler owner in fantasy. But
I don't know
Jordan
how
Love has these flashes too. Like, can Jordan Love play? Are we still wondering whether he can play? Like,
he doesn't know.
He doesn't either. Yeah, that's probably true.
We saw like what 2 or 3 good weeks, and then we saw like
4
5 bad weeks.
Yeah,
and they have 100 fucking guys injured too. So I don't know. Their whole running back depth chart is all on the like all their 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, Bosa is out, right? He got injured.
It's just they're all beat up. It's nuts. Like I don't know what to do. Yeah,
they're kind of doomed.
Yeah.
CJ, we were just talking about CJ Stroud's creepy ass, but beats the Cards at home 21-16, and Kyler Murray is, I just feel like he's in a position as a quarterback where he's been figured out, and
he ain't it.
Yeah,
he ain't it.
It's a gimmick. His whole offensive style is a gimmick.
I was just about to say I thought he had an all right game. For coming back after the time. Listen, I'm not arguing like long term. I just thought this game for coming back after the time off, having -3 weapons on the offense. Yeah. I thought some of what Kyler did well at the beginning of his career showed up Sunday, and as a result, like they probably should have won that game. I mean, Stroud looked bad. And then he came back and he found it. And, he fucking Jared Goff arc early in the game. He was like, "Here, you want the ball? Fucking, you're not on my team. Take it." And, then he redeemed himself. So I don't know. I thought Kyler Murray was kind of the bright spot for the Cardinals in that moment.
I just feel like Houston's defense shouldn't have been that difficult to pick apart in some key moments, and it's coulda, woulda, shoulda. Maybe it's shaking off the rust. To your point, I mean, could be a little bit settling in. I don't know. I just feel like
coached. I mean, the Texans' defense is well coached. I like it. I think the Texans have got to be like the refreshing team of the year, right?
Yeah, I think like maybe we've finally forgotten how awful Bob McNair is. Mostly because of D'Amico. You mentioned the weapons too for Arizona. Like CJ Stroud's doing this with guys that nobody would have considered a weapon before the season. However, like Tank Dell is a real dude, and CJ Stroud actually like asked them to draft him and bring him to Houston. So it's remarkable what's going on in Houston, man. Like. It's clear that CJ Stroud was the pick, right? That Carolina botched. But they're fucking winning like tight games. They're playing good defense. That's not a great go down that roster from top to bottom and tell me D'Amico Ryans is not coach of the year in a fucking landslide.
And he may well be. But like my thing for Stroud is I think he has, for him personally, for what he has to do, which is throw the fucking ball to people, he has some all right weapons. Tank Dell, we didn't know what we were going to get. At least with like their unknown weapons.
Now you can say that, right? Though, but just before the season, right? That's what I'm saying. Like before the season, this was an offense that didn't have weapons.
But they're young weapons, so we didn't. I don't know if we
didn't know.
Nico Collins is young. Tank Dell is young. Even Schultz is like a guy who has been productive once. So now, and Schultz isn't like an old man. It's not like he's a fucking 18-year tight end. I mean, he came over.
They're in a good fucking spot.
They are. And you know what? The guy that was supposed to be their promising piece on offense hasn't done shit. And that's Damian Pierce has been awful.
Yeah.
So, like, I just think that there is some meat on the bone there. And you have a defensive-minded coach. And it seems like the players love him. They like to play for him.
Yeah.
We'll see. I agree with you. Coach of the year at this point, probably, if it weren't for the fact that Detroit's going to win fucking 12 games sleeping. That's what's going to happen.
I don't care, to be honest.
Listen, I don't disagree with you, but they're going to win 12 games sleeping, and the hype train is there. Dan Campbell's going to – if they win 12 games, he's coach of the year.
Maybe. Look at that Houston roster. Just top to bottom.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
It's crazy. D'Amico's done a fuck. And listen, it pisses me off even more because I was on the D'Amico fucking train in week 12 of last year. Fire Ron, hire D'Amico, and we fucking dropped the ball one more time. Add it to the fucking pile. That dude is the real deal.
You guys are fine.
Oh no. Don't fucking say that.
You're fine.
I mean, onward down the mediocre trail we go. Titans in Duval. Duval gets the dub, 34-14. You know, Titans are dog shit.
Titans aren't
good. The Jags are good sometimes.
Sometimes they're good.
I'm gonna bitch about my fantasy team again. They score 34 points and Travis Etienne does fucking nothing.
Now, don't worry, sweetheart. You're playing me this week. He'll have 50.
That's usually how that works.
It was last time.
Listen, 30 the Dolphins cannot beat good teams. Okay, so that's why they beat the Raiders 20-13. That's why they went ahead and just beat the Raiders. So that's, it's kind of it's like having Punxsutawney Phil go to each individual NFL stadium and, it tells you whether or not you're going to have a good team or bad team. Is, if you show up and the Dolphins win, you've got a bad team.
You've got a bad team.
Yeah. So,
and the Dolphins are another one of those teams that like they're gonna end up winning the division because of the schedule at this point. The Bills, the Bills look great this week, but
how many divisions have that conversation though, where you have a mediocre team winning the division? I mean, listen, Brady's not wrong here.
I mean, I listen. I think Miami's better than mediocre. We have to see it because I think on any given week they can go out there and score 30.
I know it just doesn't seem statistically possible that we could have that many okay 12-win teams.
We're gonna.
It's
the math doesn't add up. It's not mathing, and the only explanation is that this is fucking mediocre.
I mean, we are in the sling era though, so I think that changes a lot of things. I mean, especially in the last 3 years, we throw the ball a fucking ton. We run up the score. Teams are going for it on fucking fourth down more than ever, and it's one of those things. It is creating weird scenarios. So,
speaking of fucking mediocre,
you get a lot of the weird. You get a lot of these really good defensive teams can't play any offense. Like, look at the Jets. They can shut you down, but they're so fucking wanting on offense that eventually even their defense looks bad.
Yeah. Speaking of mediocre, the Hawks and the Pacers, getting off sport topic here. They left the defenses at home. They're on pace for 300 points tonight, bro. They're 159 at halftime.
What?
Jesus.
Vegas set the over-under at 252. They're going to blow by that.
We're going to go. Yeah, it's. Well, listen, I watched.
I don't want to sidetrack us too
I
much.
watched the Pacers Magic the other night, and I know the Pacers can't play defense. So
are these teams only allowed on one side of the court right now? Is that some fucking new rule? Holy shit!
59 points at halftime.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tyreek got nicked up, but he came back in the game. It shouldn't be a long-term thing, but it's certainly something to monitor going forward. That's a big weapon in that offense for sure.
Onward. Yikes. Giants at the Commanders, and they at them real hard, 31-19. For their third win? Is that their third win of the season?
That it is.
Fuck's sake, Gary.
Yeah.
Speaking of mid-season adjustments.
I'm fully confident that if this wasn't Thanksgiving week and we were playing Dallas on Thanksgiving Day, that I think Ron would have been fired Monday. He survived one more week because of the short week, in my opinion. I've never been as embarrassed as I was this weekend. And I've endured some really, really bad football in the Ron Rivera era. I endured the Jim Zorn era. I endured the
era.
I endured the Jim Zorn era. I endured the Steve Spurrier era. I endured firing Marty Schottenheimer after a winning season. That's the low point of the last 15 years for this football team. Tommy DeVito looked like Joe Montana against this defense this weekend. And Jack Del Rio still has a job. I don't know how. I feel like at this point, Ron's just going down with the ship. And the ship includes the people he brought in to this organization. I don't necessarily have words because like it was turnovers here. It was 3rd and long there, and Tommy DeVito was just diming up and dicing apart this fucking defense. 31 points. 31 points. The Giants are starting 3 offensive linemen that weren't in the NFL 3 weeks ago. They are starting a quarterback who lives in his mom's basement and had a 15 to 30 TD to INT ratio in college. They are coached by probably the least competent head coach in football. And they are missing 4 starters on their defense. Yet, they beat us by 2 touchdowns, man. 2 touchdowns. It was so embarrassing that I watched the second half in in silence. I didn't post on Facebook. There's nothing left to say. This is incarnate what I said Ron Rivera was when he got hired. This is Jeff Fisher. This is a highly respected head coach in the NFL who is not qualified to be a head coach in the NFL. And if he survives Thanksgiving weekend, if he survives Black Friday, I don't know what to think of this new ownership group because I've heard rumors that they want to go get Bill Belichick. I will fucking I kid you not. There are very few moments as a fan of sports that will bring me to actual emotion, other than maybe just lashing out in anger sometimes because it's fun to fucking yell at the TV.
That's an emotion.
I will cry. I will cry if we hire Bill Belichick after surviving the Ron Rivera era. I will actually cry. And that's 4 more years of just we don't want to win. That's what it boils down to.
Who do you want, Gary? Before we move off of this,
I want your offensive coordinator, motherfucker. I want your offensive coordinator.
So here's the thing with Ben Johnson. Like, I like his
creativity, man.
I do too. I wonder. hopefully, like, he would stay with what he's doing. I do think a lot of Ben is Dan.
Oh, sure. Your head coach is telling you to be
the
aggressive.
allowance.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I know he's gone. He probably should have been gone this year, like at the end of last season. So it's unfortunate. But so that's Ben Johnson's your one.
That's my one. I don't know who's my two. I haven't thought about who's my two. I want an offensive-minded head coach, though.
Yeah.
I know that.
I think
Kellen Moore. Good call.
Yeah, we're
Kellen
not
Moore. Kellen Moore. Yeah, that's
nope. I will fucking punt everything in my house.
You don't want Kellen Moore. Okay.
I want Ben Johnson. I haven't thought about it too. I'm gonna be honest. That's how much I want. I want an offensive-minded, creative guy running the show. He can come call plays. He can come run the offense. Just go hire a good defensive coordinator. I'm fine with that. I want an offensive-minded guy. I don't want fucking Ron Rivera. I want the polar opposite.
I know a couple of Bills fans who also
Cliff
like
Kingsbury.
Ben Johnson because they know. Before I lose it real quick, it's off topic, and then I'm going to shut up. That Pacers team, they gave up. It was 78 to Orlando on Sunday at the half, and 86 today. So it's like 164.
That's unbelievable.
In two first halves, back to back. This is back to back because I don't think they played yesterday. So awful on defense.
Dad, it ain't that fucking weird. It ain't that weird. Listen, I've been calling us the slump buster for 3 years. We are the slump buster. If you're having a bad season, just play Washington with Ron at the helm. We have been the slump buster for a lot of teams.
Now, Gary, I need you to be my fantasy slump buster. So,
well, we'll see about that.
Death taxes and fourth down.
Death taxes and third and long against Jack.
Third and long, baby. Yeah.
I post that every Sunday because it happens every Sunday.
You should get that shit tattooed.
I might, man. I might. I honestly might. Right next to my fucking Redskins tattoo. That's no longer relevant.
God, you have a Redskins tattoo.
Warning, kids. Right. Warning, kids. Pick your tattoos wisely.
Look at fucking Raul. I won't talk about my Lions tattoo.
Oh, I don't want to be here.
He's so disappointed.
All right, Buccaneers on the road, San Fran. Baker's a good trier. I mean, I think that's about as far as I can go.
Yeah, shit suit, bud.
Yeah. Dude, it's just they were never gonna have a chance.
No, San Fran's swinging for the fences again. They got back. Gary and I were talking. You were absent from the show, but Gary and I were talking about how, maybe Debo is the tool they needed back because he does a little bit of everything, and it's kind of showing to be true right now. And San Fran looks like a juggernaut again. The Bucs look like, the Bucs.
Mediocre.
Yeah. The fucking poster child for mediocrity.
Facts. Well,
get it out.
There really just wasn't much to talk about in that game.
No,
so now,
I mean,
so we're just going to sit here and thank you guys for tuning in. No,
what I will say is like Brock Purdy looked good again this week. I mean, while we're waiting for Gary, not a game I really planned on talking about too much, but Purdy comes back, and after like 2 or 3 questionable weeks, everybody was kind of like, oh, this is the Brock Purdy. And then he's like 3s across the board, which is fucking scary. The dude threw the ball 25 times, and it was 333, 13.3 average with 3 touchdowns. And his QBR or his passer rating ended in a 3. Because it was
158.3.
Perfecto.
Yeah. Debo Samuel makes a difference for that offense. That's the only comment I have. Debo's back. That offense is different.
I was just talking about how we had mentioned that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. I had to. I'm 2 shows into beer, so I had to go take a piss.
I feel like Debo Samuel is the better version of Taysom Hill.
Way better.
He doesn't throw the ball really, but
But neither
Right.
is
Swiss Army knife capability.
But like the run and the pass game,
Yeah.
like
You can
he's
line him up everywhere.
Well, Gary calls him the hardest tackle in the league. We talked about this. Like, it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, but he just does everything. You know, like you get him running the ball, or running up the middle, or running outside. He catches the ball.
Yeah.
I think he draws a lot. He helps Ayuk get free deep.
He plays
And
outside
Kittle,
and inside.
and Kittle is better when he's playing too.
Kittle is too. Debo makes a difference for that team in a ton of ways, because as a defensive coordinator, you have to know, like, we got to know where 19 is. We have to know where he is
at all times.
because they could give him the ball in any situation. They line him up on the left or right of Purdy a lot, with McCaffrey on the other side of Purdy. How fucking dangerous is that goddamn backfield?
And he beats you up too. So it's physically, it's passing on your defense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. If you're not going to have if at least a linebacker, if you're not going to have at least a linebacker on, if you're going to be stuck with safeties or corners, you need at least 2.
And that's the catch-all too, because the catch too, because the linebackers can't stay with them.
Can't catch him.
Right. And the corners are too
Maybe
small.
the only linebacker that can catch him plays on his team. Fred Warner is probably the only guy that can catch him.
And it's not like, when we talk about Debo, like sometimes, like, Debo's not AJ Brown or like DK Metcalf big.
No, he's what, 6'1",
6'1". Yeah, I mean, he's strong. He's got a good base to him, but like he just plays huge.
So physical. You know who he reminds me of? The way he runs, the way he's hard to bring down because of the way he's not afraid to like dip and find an angle to try to break a tackle. He reminds me of Adrian Peterson, man. He's not Adrian Peterson. I'm not trying to say that. But if you watch him run and the way defenders have to try to tackle him, he does remind me a lot of like Adrian Peterson as a wide receiver. If Adrian Peterson was a couple inches shorter and probably 30 pounds lighter, he probably would be like a Deebo Samuel guy, right? I will always say this, man. He is, when I watch games, I don't know of anybody, even Derrick Henry. I'm not excluding Derrick Henry from this conversation. He is the hardest tackle. I watch 3, 4, 5 defenders struggle to bring him to the ground, and it makes a huge difference. It also leads to a lot of his kind of nicks and bumps and bruises, but he is the hardest tackle in football. And he makes such a difference for that team. Such a difference.
Probably some of them hip drop tackles.
Yeah. Well played, sir.
God. Well, Buffalo gets back on top against the Jets, 32-6. How long is this going to continue? Toxicity in the locker room.
It's done.
I mean,
it's done. Tim Boyle's starting.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson is 3rd in the pecking order. He got 2 demotions this week.
So I posted a thing today or yesterday. I shared on my Facebook where 2 years ago, almost to the date here, Tim Boyle was going to start for the Lions.
Yeah.
And a buddy of mine tagged me, Marjo.
Yeah.
It's who the fuck?
I saw your post.
Yeah. Who the fuck is Tim Boyle? I'm like, I don't fucking know. Some dude, he's like the 3rd
Tim
string
Boyle's
quarterback.
parents don't know who Tim Boyle is.
Yeah. He was a 3rd string quarterback at that point. So it's very fitting that now, nearly 2 years later to the day,
Jets fans get to ask.
Here we are, and it can't be worse, can it, than what we're seeing? I mean,
and people still don't fucking know who Tim Boyles is, dude.
Like Gary said, his fucking parents don't know who he is.
Right. I'll tell you, this weekend was the first time that the Jets broke my trust. I don't know if it's the Bills kind of unleashing Josh Allen and saying we're only going as far as Josh Allen takes us, which has been true for a long time, but they've been trying to kind of protect him from injury, which is smart, right? Because he's your fucking quarterback. But he was running the ball more. They ran the ball more. They gave James Cook a lot more carries. They got Ty Johnson involved. They got 3 running backs involved that had decent games. Latavius Murray even had a couple of carries that were productive. The Jets let me down defensively. I have said for several weeks now that the only team I can trust in the AFC East is the Jets, because I know that they're going to win or lose 13-10, basically. Didn't happen this weekend. But the Bills looked good. The Bills had some juice, I think, from the Ken Dorsey firing. I feel like that's going to galvanize a locker room or break a locker room. And it looks like it kind of galvanized them at least for 1 week. We'll see how long it lasts. But
I mean, and with the Jets, though, like I don't think you want to completely
schedule the rest of the way.
You know, trash all the Jets gear and posters you have in your house if you're a Jets fan, because, you know, while Gary could call them old reliable, I think when the offense is that bad, it's almost a hindrance to your defense as well.
100%. 100%.
If you can't sustain drives and you can't stay on the field,
yep.
Your defense, they can only do so much. So
yep.
That's where I land there.
I said it earlier, right? I don't care how good your defense is. Trent Dilfer's not winning a Super Bowl in this era.
Right.
That's just what it boils down to.
You know, they're gonna play Miami this week, and they might get their doors blown off again.
Who's the worst quarterback to win a Super Bowl in the last 10 years?
10?
Yeah. A lot of Brady, a lot of Manning, a lot of Mahomes, Breeze. Well, Breeze, I think, was a little more than 10 years ago, but
they don't. So I think the worst quarterback to win a Super Bowl in recent memories got to be Eli Manning.
Right? Maybe Flacco.
But Flacco.
Yeah.
Flacco
had an unbelievable run though. In the playoffs.
Flacco's the worst one though.
Flacco was 11-1 in the playoffs though. 11 touchdowns, 1 pick. Like he got hot.
Right.
But you're right.
He's a better statistical quarterback than Eli. But I would take Eli historically over Flacco.
Right. You're not winning with a dog shit quarterback anymore. Right.
No, not at all.
Cool.
No Joe Namath's around here.
Yeah. Trent Dilfers.
All right. Another nail biter. I mean,
lap fight.
Fuck. Rams 1-point victory over the Seahawks at home. I mean, this came down to just, bad win read. I don't know. I mean, what the fuck?
Yeah. I don't know. The cool thing was like Stafford moves up that list a little further on the fourth quarter comebacks, the late game drive comebacks. I mean, I think he went ahead or tied Favre this way. Like he just, it's for historical purposes. Cool.
Yeah.
What a bad game for Seattle to lose though. Like while they're trying to up,
Yeah, especially against a struggling Rams team. This was not the game you wanted to lose.
You could be 7. You could be 7-3.
In terms of playoff positioning, too, like Minnesota's hot despite the loss to Denver this weekend, which was a weird game. But LA's getting Kyron Williams back. You have to feel like the running game's going to get better. That's a tough division already. Yeah, not a good game for Seattle to drop here. Fantasy football players, though, Kenneth Walker's going to miss a couple weeks, and Zach Charbonnet's already been a productive number 2, and he's going to be getting bell cow numbers over the next few weeks. I hate to give that away because probably someone's going to grab him on the waivers from me, but
I already put in for him.
Yeah, me too. But we'll see.
I don't even know where I stand.
I don't either. We'll see.
Well, I'm over here like using my waiver priority on a fucking defense because I just have to fucking win a week.
Yeah.
Sad times ahead of us. I mean,
you ain't
this
kidding.
is the next Great Depression here. And speaking of fucking Great Depression, the Broncos win. Just 1-point victory over a limp dick Vikings team.
Yeah. The Denver Broncos making shit happen,
Russell Wilson is the fucking quarterback on the longest win streak right now.
Listen, they get wins against fucking Buffalo, KC.
I hate that so much.
Now a limp dick Minnesota team,
Broncos country is riding, I guess.
Fucking doing
dude.
I mean, fucking beating up fucking Charlie Villanueva and company. It's
fun fact about Charlie Villanueva. His father's name is Robert. So his dad is Bob Dobbs.
Bob Dobbs. That's a fucking sick name, dude.
Bob Dobbs.
Does he have hair?
No, he's bald. He has eyebrows.
Oh, you know what? I think I saw a picture of his parents in the stands.
The maximum amount of disappointment in the fact that their son is a quarterback and not an astronaut.
So Raul is gone.
Yo, his mom
is so mad. She's a tiger mom, man. She's terrifying. She's so mad.
She looks like the Persian Cruella de Vil, bro. I don't know.
I clearly missed these.
Oh, I'll share it
images.
In Facebook. I thought I shared it, but I'll share it.
I don't think I saw
it. No, dude. Allow me. On to the next game.
It's so good.
All right, so and the last one is the kind of the disappointing fucking blow for the Kansas City Chiefs. Comes down to one final play, drop touchdown pass, and the Eagles squeak by 21-17 at Arrowhead.
Go ahead, Andy.
When you're promised a good game and you get a game that's a piece of shit wrapped in like bright fucking wrapping paper because it looks like it was a good game, but fuck that game. Like who? I have some shit to bitch about that I'm not going to bitch about because I know Gary's going to bitch about it, and I'm going to leave that to him. Has to do with Philly in their offense, but what a fucking disappointing piece of shit. And it's not like the fucking lead up to is like Kelsey versus Kelsey. Oh, fucking Taylor's parents are gonna meet Kelsey's parents, and fucking my fucking daughter's like, I want to watch the Chiefs game, and I'm like, oh, fucking crap. Like this.
Name me one fucking player from the Chiefs, not named Travis Kelce, and you can.
Oh, she knows who Mahomes is. She's like the guy that drops the ball. And I'm like, yeah, Kadarius Toney. Yeah, so actually, if I asked her that, she'd probably be like, it doesn't matter. The Lions beat them. And then I would just have to give her free reign for the right answer. But yeah, no, I mean, what a game that was just advertised and the build-up was huge. And it again, if you look at the box score, you're like, oh, this is a good game. But if you watch the game, you're like, no, this game sucked. So, I mean, I want to give the floor to Gary because I know he wants to say what I want to say. And, sir.
Listen, I don't think I've ever trusted a 9-1 team less than I trust the Philadelphia Eagles. They're not the boogeyman, and I'm here to let Philly fans know, like, this could be a first playoff game exit team. They could be the 1 seed, get a bye, and lose, or they could continue this weird kind of lucky magical ride and maybe make the Super Bowl. I don't know, but I watched this game, and we're continuing to see this fucking tush push bullshit. I just want the NFL to regulate their rules. That's all I want. Just regulate your own fucking playbook. That's it.
Yeah, you said the photo.
I tried to share it. It's not.
I didn't.
I'm gonna pull it in while I'm talking about this, but
okay. I was trying to pull it. I was trying to share my screen. It wouldn't let me.
Yeah, I'll pull it in as I'm saying this. But honestly, like, this is just the tush push is so ridiculous. But also, like, how many times throughout this game did we see just like crazy? This officiating crew embarrassed itself beyond repair. I don't know. I'm trying to get this in. Sorry, I'm a little distracted here, but I don't know.
I can't. I'm just this fucking picture fucking me up. You ever seen two people more fucking disinterested in anything in your life? Holy shit, dude. fucking messed up.
But anyway, the Eagles are troubling because I just want this fucking play just regular, because Jalen Hurts is not doing anything on this play. All he does is fall forward on top of Travis Kelce, and Dallas Goedert and whoever other fucking person they put back there with him. They're grabbing under his pads and basically just like levitating, moving him on the offensive lineman. He scored. I saw a funny montage with he just passed Cam Newton for most rushing touchdowns by a quarterback in their first 4 seasons.
From fucking 8 inches.
Dude, it's like 50% of his are from fucking a yard and a half or less. And it was funny because the montage was basically like Cam Newton with a 30-yard touchdown run, and then Jalen Hurts with a tush push. And then Cam Newton with a 40-yard touchdown where he runs over 2 linebackers and jukes a DB. And then Jalen Hurts with a tush push. And then Cam Newton where he dives over the fucking pylon with the Superman. And then it was Jalen Hurts with a tush push. It was
just
so
same
good.
thing over and over.
Just kept doing it over and over. It was so good. It's such bullshit. It's an illegal play in 3 different ways on almost every single time they run it. They are constantly lined up offside. They're not on every play. I'll give you that. You can find some out there where they're lined up properly, but I can find a bunch.
But for the people at home, if the hand is in the neutral zone, that's a neutral zone infraction.
Yes.
Only Kelce's hand can be there.
Yes, and only one of Kelce's hands. I want to rebut. I want to rebut to Travis or to Jason Kelce because he has on his podcast said that's my hand. You, as the center, unless both hands are touching the football, only one of your hands can be in the neutral zone.
Right.
If you are snapping the ball with 2 hands, you can have them both in the neutral zone, but they have to be touching the football. His hand is in the neutral zone on almost all of them, and the left and right guard are constantly in the neutral zone. The left and right guard are helmets across the football often. They also false start quite often.
They do.
And they are illegally carrying Jalen Hurts across the fucking line of scrimmage. It's the most fucking simplistic way to take this dumb fucking play out of the game. Just call it as your rule book states. It's that simple.
Right. That's the easiest way to do it too, is because people are like, what do you want them to do about it? I'm like, why do you think every team in the league doesn't do this? Well, because every team's not as good as fucking Philly's line. Philly's line's not even the best line in the league right now. Philly doesn't even have the number 1 offensive line in the league this year because it's Detroit. Right. Detroit doesn't do this. And they're like, well, Goff's bigger than Hurts.
Right.
Like, if they wanted to do it, they could probably do the same thing. The
but
difference
is
follow
the rules.
The way they're doing it. And I argued with an Eagles
fan. That's how the Giants got Daniel Jones hurt.
I argued with an Eagles fan about Kelce's hands because he was like, well, Kelce can be in the neutral zone. I was like, Kelce can't be in the neutral zone. His hands can be as long as they're touching the football, because once they touch the football, it's almost like his hands don't exist.
His helmet is not allowed to be in the neutral zone.
No, right. His hands can, but it's only on the football because the football cancels his hands. Yep. It's like the football erases it.
Yep.
Is the easiest way to
when
explain
they're touching the football.
So when he has one here on the ball,
his
and
other
one here next to it, that's illegal. His helmet is illegal. The other, it's.
You guys are both saying the same thing.
Yep.
Raul, what is it?
It's
time to shut the fuck up and move on. That's what it is. Jesus Christ.
I do want to say I worry about the
nerds.
Chiefs, I do worry about the Chiefs though. So one big thing to me that's concerning to me is that Andy Reid, I don't know what it is, but he feels very stubborn about his wide receivers right now. They have one wide receiver that is reliable and really dynamic with the football in his hands. And then they have Kadarius Toney, who can't catch a cold. And they have MVS, who has the most drops in the league on passes over 30 yards.
What happened to that guy?
He has one skill, and it's to run really fast. And he drops the most balls in the league on deep balls. And yet, the most reliable and the most dynamic guy with the football in his hands touched the ball twice last night. Twice.
Couldn't get open.
He was wide open all the time. Rasheed Rice is running around in the middle of the field by his fucking self.
I didn't see him
all
getting
night.
open a lot. I saw him struggling.
Maybe. I disagree. I also think that Andy Reid's not designing plays for fucking the best guy on their fucking
Well,
offense.
and that might be it. That might be the lack of designing plays.
Frustrating, dude. He touched the ball twice last night. He made 3 guys miss the first time he touched it. He made 2 guys miss the second time he touched it. Give him
so maybe screen the guy. I mean,
whatever.
Screen the guy all game. I thought when he was going out, I didn't think he looked great. Like I just didn't see the routes coming together.
Maybe.
And I mean, maybe Philly. Listen, we talk about Philly not being the boogeyman and Philly taking a step back. They do still have some good qualities. I think the secondary is one of them. So obviously that plays a role. But
it was sloppy weather last night too. But I don't know. I saw him by himself a few times.
I was surprised too.
Yeah, no points in the second half. Up 17-7 and you lose. Tough go.
Most definitely. Well, how about we get on to the most important part of our show? We're a veteran-owned sports podcast, and we appreciate you guys tuning in. For those of you guys that are unfamiliar with our show, we dedicate every episode to a fallen service member in our Folds of Honor sponsored segment called Our Salute to Service. This episode of Backyard Blitz is dedicated to Army Command Sergeant Major Jerry L. Wilson, who passed away November 23rd, 2003, serving during Operation Iraqi Freedom. He was 45 years old from Thompson, Georgia, and assigned to 1st Battalion, 502nd Infantry Regiment, 2nd Brigade, 101st Airborne Division, Air Assault, based out of Fort Campbell, Kentucky. And he was killed when hostile forces attacked the vehicle in which he was riding in Mosul, Iraq. Army Command Sergeant Major Jerry L. Wilson. We have the watch.
Gary got that early seasonal beer.
On to the Week 12 preview. All of us are unanimous. Andy, a little surprised to see you stick with the Lions there. I mean,
fuck the Packers. Dude. No, I mean, if it weren't fuck the Packers, it would still be fucked. I don't think Green Bay is terribly good. They do have a shitload of guys on the injury report as well on the short week, including their first 3 running backs. So that could be tough. Again, my reservations about the Lions still exist. However, I think they're a better team than Green Bay. So,
Yep. The injuries, they've made a couple of moves on the defensive side of the ball, including trading maybe their best corner or their most reliable corner in Rasul Douglas to the Bills, who made plays for the Bills this past week. It's the injuries. It's kind of where Green Bay is. I think that they are aware that this is kind of a rebuilding year for them, despite the early success that they had, where myself of the 3 in this group, myself the most said maybe they found their quarterback. Jury's still out on that. I was a little premature. I think that the big thing for them is they've got to find playmakers. They don't have any on the outside. They thought Christian Watson was going to be it. He's not him. Romeo Doubs is not him. Jaden Reed, not him. They don't have playmakers on the outside, which is what Aaron Rodgers bitched about for a long time, not putting enough weapons outside for him. It used to be because of the salary cap issues. Now it looks like it's because of the ineptitude of drafting. We'll see what they can do this offseason, whether they can put some guys around Jordan Love and actually pull that potential out of him and whether or not they're going to have their next quarterback.
Well, the Detroit Lions, as we've said on this show, are They cannot beat good teams right now. So we know that Green Bay is not a good team. So the odds are certainly in Detroit's favor. Onward.
Wrong one. My bad.
No worries.
Dallas gets Carolina again.
Yeah,
in
right.
true Turkey Day fashion, Dallas gets a break on Thanksgiving Day.
Yep.
At home.
Yep.
Shouldn't be a bad day.
Yep.
And hopefully this will be the final swan song of Riverboat Ron.
You know what's going to happen is we're going to be wrong in Washington.
Washington's going to win, and Ron's going to be around. God damn it. Don't fucking do that to me, Andy.
If there's anybody that's going to do it, it's going to be Dallas.
It's a fucking divisional game, man.
I know.
I don't know.
I know.
I don't know what to tell you.
I know.
I mean, I picked Dallas too. I think,
make no mistake, we'll find a way to fuck it up.
There were some big margins this week when I was looking.
Yeah.
But this week also, I think, features the most really small margins. So, like the Thanksgiving games, 7.5 to Detroit, 11 to Dallas, 7 to San Fran, and then you've got the Jets Dolphins is 10 to Miami, right? But then you got 1 in favor of Pittsburgh over Cincy. You've got I don't want to actually blow them all away, but you've got a 2, a 2.5, a 1, a 3, a 3.5, a 0.5, a 2.5. Like there's a whole bunch of close games as far as Vegas is concerned this week.
Thanksgiving's going to be ugly.
It might be. But she'll be drunk. Who cares?
Right. Exactly. I'll be drunk and in a tryptophan coma.
I like that.
Yeah.
Deep. I love fucking deep cut turkey references on the show. This is so fucking great. I love this show. This is great quality content. San Fran on the road in Seattle. All of us unanimous riding with San Fran. Of course, Seattle's not going to win this game. There's no reason they should win this game.
Geno hurt. Kenneth Walker hurt. San Francisco's a better team to begin with.
Listen,
the only issue is Seattle's
at
home.
Drew Lock.
Drew Lock, baby.
Yeah,
Gary's guy.
I liked him. Coming out of college, but he has not made good on that. He has not made good on that.
Yeah, no, and San Fran's look good. We were talking
about
that
shit famous for himself when fucking Tom Herman mocked him on the sidelines. Fantastic.
Yep.
Gary was getting a bit of a piss earlier. We were talking about San Fran looks really good again. I mean, they came in on the end of it with the Debo thing. So, yeah, they should win this game. This is a game they should win. I mean,
for sure.
Easy day. Miami on the road in New York. Everybody unanimous for Miami because, again, Miami doesn't beat bad teams or doesn't beat good teams, and the New York Jets are not a good team. So, double.
Yeah, I mean, the defense is going to have to be Hercules if the Jets are going to have a chance. This is going to have to be like a 10-9 win if the Jets are going to win, and I don't think you hold Miami to 9 points.
No.
Not with how bad that offense is either. As many chances as Miami's going to have. No, you don't hold them to 9 points.
I mean, if you're a bad team that's going to beat Miami, you got to be able to score like 21 points.
Yeah, maybe weather, right? It's that time of year too. Can you slow it down? Can you muddy it up against the Niners? Maybe.
I trust the Niners in bad weather, though.
Yeah, they can run the ball, and they've got 3 guys that can run the ball. People love McCaffrey, but like if they've got to get muddy and get physical, Jordan Mason can run the ball angry, and Elijah Mitchell is a guy who can run.
Well, you get in there, you drop some things that are like Brock Purdy. Hey, throw the ball 5 yards to Kittle here, throw the ball 5 yards to Debo here. Right. They can do that. Sustain.
Yeah. Rely on your defense as well.
Yeah, time to get your wedges out and play the short game.
Yep.
New Orleans on the road to Atlanta, and house divided here as Andy's riding with Atlanta. I've been on this Atlanta underdog train for a lot of the season.
Took Atlanta or it took New Orleans.
I wanted to be spicy. I've kind of just been led down by Atlanta time and time again, and my man Bijan out there getting a bad shake.
Bro, he was fucking returning punts. What are we doing?
It's a travesty. You can't.
What the fuck are we doing? Listen, I'm going to tell you right now.
Mid-season adjustments, my guy.
Right.
Time to make coach changes.
If I was the owner of Home Depot and the Atlanta Falcons, the moment number 7 was lined up to return a fucking punt, I'm going down on the field and I'm grabbing Arthur Smith by his fucking ear and walking him to the parking lot and telling him to call a fucking Uber. That's fucking so ridiculous. I don't understand. He won't give him the ball on offense, but he wants him returning fucking punts? No chance. That dude is gone. In that very moment, before the punt even leaves the punter's foot, I'm grabbing that motherfucker by the nape of his neck and dragging his ass out of
Home Depot.
To Home Depot. If I'm the owner of the Arizona Cardinals, I'm going down there and getting them the fuck out of the game.
Yeah, right.
You're helping my team right now, but you're going, pal.
Good fucking grief.
Yeah, no, I don't.
What a shit show.
These teams are both weird, man. I feel like when I pick the Saints, they fuck me up. If I pick the Falcons, they fuck me up. So I might as well just pick whatever. I don't know. I think Atlanta has showed me a couple things. The Saints have kind of gone away. The defense doesn't look good anymore.
No, no, it doesn't.
I mean,
they were top 5 fucking 5 weeks into the season. They're not good anymore. Famous Jameis.
Lattimore's got to be fucking leading the league in fucking penalties.
Yeah, he leads the league in fucking dickhead moves. Fucking guy. Ugh.
It'd be like that.
It'd be like
listen, I was just gonna ride with Cincinnati just because I don't have much more faith in Pitt, and I'm trying to give Cincinnati the home edge here. But either one of this, I mean, I'm so disinterested in this game because of what we got, who's there, fuck Kenny Pickett, and Joe Burrow's replacement.
I rode the Pittsburgh defense. That's like where I landed on this.
Yeah.
That's for me. That's what it is. That's all it is.
Yeah.
They're gonna get after Jake Browning. If he can get Jamar Chase going and he can just win on every route, maybe Jamar Chase has 13 catches for a couple touchdowns. That's how they beat Pittsburgh. But other than that, I don't think Cincinnati's going to be able to. Jake Brown is not.
I don't trust the line.
I agree.
I think that line has been built to accommodate Joe Burrow.
Right, because he's quick with the ball, quick with decisions.
Right.
Yep, 100%.
They didn't necessarily make the line good. They made the line
make them better than they are.
And you still have a question. T. Higgins, I think, is still probably out this week. Yeah. So you still have Boyd and you still have Chase and you still have Mixon. But I could see like an 8-sack game.
I agree. If Chase is winning at the line of scrimmage on every route, maybe you can get the ball out quick to him, but 8 sacks is not out of the question. 5 for TJ.
Fuck it. Throw the whole playbook away.
Fuck. Well, grim look ahead for Cincinnati. Jesus.
It's tough, man. Jake Browning's parents don't know he's playing football still.
Houston at home. Jacksonville, another house divided here. Looks like, I'm just picking hometown favorite here.
You have the floor, baby. Let's go.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's going to be – I think it's just another fucking coin toss, man, because you don't know what Jacksonville team's going to show up. Is ETN going to go off for record numbers again, or are we going to have just a fucking mediocre What's that?
I'm playing Andy this week, so he's going to have fucking 140 and 2 touchdowns.
No. Career highs all across the board, baby. I'm going to score 160. Gary's just going to score 170.
162.
But yeah, I mean, I just think that, I think that we're not seeing enough from Jacksonville to be confident in them as a team. We've seen glimpses of Houston being good, and I just think they'll just ride that momentum at home.
This isn't a slam dunk pick for me.
Right.
Because I like what's going on in Houston. Despite how much I flame sprayed them in the offseason and last season, and saying that, like, I hate that D'Amico Ryans got hired to the worst situation in football, right? I said that. Those words came out of my mouth. He has completely fucking changed this organization. And that's more credit to him, right? Like, it was after Dan Snyder sold the Commanders, it was the worst situation in football because of ownership, because of roster decomposition, and the lack of just kind of faith and hope with that organization. He has fucking completely changed it. I still think that the Jaguars are a better team. I still think the Jaguars are the best team in the AFC South, though. That's why I went with the Jags in this game. On the road, I think they're like a 2.5 favorite. I'd probably take the points with Houston, and I think this is going to be a tight game. But I still think Jacksonville's the best team in the AFC South.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong.
It's not a big margin like I thought it was at the beginning. I thought it was a wide margin at the beginning of the season that Jacksonville is just going to just disappear on the AFC South. They're not. They're not going to, because Houston's legit.
I mean, to be fair, most people probably pick the Texans to lose the division.
Right.
So not only are they not doing that, but they're contending. I just think Jacksonville,
they got a quarterback that might be in the MVP conversation at the end of the season.
Yeah. Jacksonville better win this game.
Right.
That's where it boiled down.
He's fifth best odds right now, man, in Vegas.
He's definitely in there right now.
He's fifth best odds.
I just think Jacksonville better win the game.
Mediocre NFL.
Okay, Tom.
I mean, listen, it's speaking facts.
I agree, though. Jacksonville better win this game.
They better win the game. Like that's what it boils down to. Like they have to win this game. If they're to take, they're supposed to ascend.
Yep.
And reach this next level.
Yep.
They probably got lucky with the Chargers last year.
Yeah.
And
they got lucky with Brandon Staley.
Right. We saw their whole ass in the playoffs, and Trevor Lawrence got away with it.
Yep.
And now, now we have the division is theirs.
Yep.
And it's not. So you better go win this game.
Go win this game.
On to the next. Tampa Bay on to Indianapolis. Andy riding with Indianapolis. Me and Gary picking Tampa Bay.
I want to hear it, bud.
I don't really have a reason.
Okay.
Yeah.
Home team?
Yeah. What'd you do earlier?
Yeah.
Fucking
flip it.
Yeah. I mean,
mediocre.
I think these teams are pretty evenly scaled. One's at home, one's not. Jonathan Taylor's looked good the past few weeks.
Yeah, he's starting to find it, isn't he?
Yeah, they had the bye last week. I mean, that Tampa defense started off okay, and then they've kind of just been like, we're not that good. And Baker Mayfield's okay still. What are we, like 6 years of Baker Mayfield and he's still just okay? I mean, I don't. Not a lot to say here.
He's the only quarterback to win a playoff game in Cleveland for the last 40 fucking years.
Yeah, your watch ain't telling you how long it's been.
No.
You
don't go that far back.
Doc Brown shit. Fucking Marty McFly.
No way. You got that Casio calculator watch. And so look, because of the beat down that the fucking Giants put on the Commanders last week, we're all riding with the Giants at home against the Patriots.
So how much did that actually sway the two of you?
I waffled on this. My final reason, I'll be honest with you. What's that?
Did the last week's Giants performance play into it? Or
my final deciding factor in this was Bailey Zappi.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah,
because mine was a lot to do with more to do with New England than New York.
Yeah.
All New England. Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. Agree with you. Yep.
Yeah, they're a bigger dumpster fire than the New York Giants.
That's the correct way to put that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I'm not going to stand here and argue about Baker too much, but I will say that I think Baker.
The difference in what, senior?
In the Colts Buccaneers game.
Man.
I will say this: Baker gets more flack than he should. I'll put it that way. He gets more flack than he should. If you just look at Baker's career and kind of what he dealt with in Cleveland and actually what he's doing right now in Tampa Bay, it's you'll look at it and be like, there's no way he's doing that. He has actually really good numbers this year in Tampa, but they're not a good team. I'm not going to sit here and argue like Baker's fucking the MVP or any of that. I don't want it to get misconstrued, but Mayfield takes a lot of flack that he doesn't deserve.
No, he's okay. I said he was okay.
Right. But
I think he gets a lot of shit from the masses. I think like
right.
I think if you went and asked like 25 people who you think know something about football, I think you'd probably come back fairly split on Baker.
Probably.
Which seems correct.
That's what I mean, right? He takes a lot of shit in like the mass media. But
it's his personality.
He's easy to make fun of, yeah, for sure.
It's the personality.
Agreed.
The draft position.
He's a fuck boy, but yeah,
sure. He does get unfair criticism.
Sure.
I mean, I think for me, like I think with
I'm not too far out on a limb saying
the people I typically would talk to, he's probably fairly rated as like.
He's the middle. He's 10 to 20, right? Like
he's good. He's okay.
Right. 10 to 20, whatever.
Or I don't
12
want
to 25, maybe. I don't know.
I personally don't want him on my team, but like,
he's gonna do great as a career backup one day.
One day.
Okay. Onward.
He had thoughts. He let them go. I fuck with that. All right, so I'm riding with Carolina here all alone against Tennessee. Tennessee's at home this week. Tennessee's bad football, man, and Carolina's bad football. Carolina's real bad football. I don't have faith in either of these fucking teams.
That game is either going to be 31-30 or 9-8.
I had Carolina circled first. And then I erased it. And then I went with Tennessee, and then I erased it, and I went with Carolina, and then I went back to Tennessee. I don't know who's going to win this game.
This is the one I waffled over the most.
Yeah. And it didn't deserve your time.
No. No, because the fact of the matter is I'm not even going to watch the game.
Right.
You know?
Nobody is.
Yeah.
I'll catch the highlights, and I'll see what I need to see, but.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
Rams, we're all united here. Rams go on the road in Arizona. Kyler Murray looking for a chance to kind of bring back some life to the Arizona Cardinals. Rams squeaking by on a win last week. Rams should come out of this on top. This should be, in theory, a good win for them. Cooper Kupp, is he going to be out this weekend too?
He's out. He's going to be week to week, but I don't think he plays this week, which is fucking phenomenal for my fantasy team. Yeah, as I face Andy this week without Cooper Kupp. Although Andy, in reality, Cooper Kupp hasn't been good for about fucking 4 weeks. So.
True. I still don't want him out there.
Yeah, exactly. The threat of Cooper Kupp is enough.
I prefer he's just home hanging out.
I waffled a bit on this one. I don't know that I can trust the Rams. I don't know what I'm getting from the Cardinals. They beat the Cowboys, right? Who are allegedly a good team. But they also have laid a bunch of eggs. They've given up leads. The Cardinals aren't a good team, but I don't know that I can trust the Rams. So I waffled a bit on this, but in the end, I settled on I trust Aaron Donald. Kyron Williams is coming back, which is a win, I think, for the Rams in my book. So I settled on the Rams.
You're not the only one either. In Vegas, this is Vegas's game of the week. I mean, this is the 0.5.
0.5, right? This is the pick'em, yeah.
In favor of the Rams.
Barely. Just because Vegas wants to make the juice. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nope. This is nip tuck. This is fucking tight game. I don't know who I can trust in this game, but I went with the Rams.
Yeah. Fair call. Once upon a time, very recently, they won a Super Bowl.
They did.
Couldn't
Feels
tell.
like a long time ago.
Yeah, couldn't fucking tell. We're all united here with Cleveland on the road in Broncos country. So Broncos country's riding should stop this weekend, is what we're saying.
I almost picked Broncos.
Me too. Me too.
I was so close.
I wouldn't do it.
I trust Cleveland's defense, though, right? Like, I just think that Cleveland's defense is going to be able to take away a lot of what the Broncos can do offensively.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be one of the – this is going to be a fucking shitty score, like 12-9 Cleveland. Is Dustin Hopkins going to be the player of the game?
I feel like Denver's figured it out, though. Like, they have figured some things out defensively. You don't think so?
I thought that. I thought that before.
I still think that.
I think they figured it out defensively. Offensively, right. I think they're still a mess.
But they've won 3 pretty good games.
I agree. And I didn't like what I saw in the Vikings game because they got away from the run too early. And I don't want Russ throwing 35, 40 times in a game that you're relying on your defense. You need to turn around and you need to put it in the belly of McLaughlin and Williams. Get P. Ryan involved more. I think they're still trying to figure it out offensively. I think Sean Payton still wants to be this high-flying guy, but he doesn't have the receivers to be that guy.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't know how because he's fucking too busy posting on his fucking Facebook page about, like, when do I get my W-2s from Walmart for using self-checkout this year? Like, he's past it, dude. He's just old and shit. I don't know what to fucking say.
Mm-hmm.
But I start to trust Denver more every week, which is probably a fucking Vaseline slide. Yeah, I don't know, man.
I like what they're doing defensively. I will give you that. I trust them defensively. The offense, I think they're still trying to figure out, and I don't against the Cleveland defense. You don't want to be figuring it out offensively.
It's true, and probably why I picked Cleveland.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Right.
Well, I'm glad nobody picked.
Who wants to be figuring it out with Myles Garrett standing across the fucking line?
No, dude. Not a fucking chance.
I know that Mason Rudolph doesn't want to be.
I was good. I was going there.
Did you see this weekend he picked up the Steelers helmet and handed it to someone?
I didn't.
Somebody lost the helmet. He picked it up and walked over to an offensive lineman and handed it to him and then patted him on the head. I don't know what they were saying, but it was clear there was some sort of inside joke going on.
Kenny Pickett was like, "The fuck is this guy?"
Oh, get him!
Somebody tackle him.
Kansas City looking to bounce back in Vegas. All of us riding for Kansas City. I mean, this should be a good bounce back win against a not good Raiders team.
Yeah, they're going to bounce back big.
Listen, if they don't, all of the questions we've had about Kansas City might be really kind of coming out this week. They should beat Vegas though.
Yeah, they're going to beat the fucking brakes off them.
They should.
I
wonder what we're going to get from Kansas City long term, man. That's my question. What's the rest of the season?
Although I think the Raiders, and they might fuck this up, but I think they found their guy.
Head coach?
Yes.
Yeah, they need a quarterback, but they got their guy head coach.
Well, yeah.
Antonio Pierce is the guy.
Quarterback for sure. But
I meant to mention
Antonio Pierce
last week's game. Antonio Pierce, I love that he came out and owned the fact that he should have kicked field goals because I posted it on Facebook. I posted it in our group chat. I posted it in 2 other group chats. Field goals are fucking okay, coach. Field goals are okay. They passed up 2, and they had the ball again down a touchdown when they could have kicked a field goal, and they were in field goal range when they lost that game. They literally could have had a chance to win that game.
What a lot of these sports teams need to figure out is that the era of I'm your grandfather or I'm your father with coaching it's dead.
Yeah.
The whole maybe I don't want to say I'm your friend, but I'm your older brother type deal. That's what's working now. A lot of these teams that have this younger coach who's kind of gets it. Yep. That's what's seeming to work. And Vegas don't fuck it up because you might.
They did with Bisaccia Don't fuck it up with Pierce.
They fucked up. They fucked up haircuts for fucking decades.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm just saying. They did.
Oh, God.
Well done.
All right. Buffalo in Philadelphia. Gary's sticking with Buffalo. Me and Andy are riding with the Eagles. I mean, Gary, you've been saying it for most of the season. They're not the boogeyman they appear to be. And so I've had growing skepticism about this Buffalo team. So where are you at and what led you to, I mean, is that you got more turned off by Philly's performance last night than no?
No, it's a matchup thing. Philly doesn't cover the tight end very well, and Dalton Kincaid is playing good football right now. I know, Andy, you and I talked a lot about like who the best tight end in this draft was. But right now, Dalton Kincaid is playing as, maybe not as good, but he's playing at that level of like he deserved to be a first round.
He looks fantastic.
Right now, yes, absolutely. What I also trust is the fact that Buffalo started to let Josh be Josh last week. And this Philadelphia defense also gives up a lot of yards on quarterback runs, as evidenced by Mahomes on Monday night rushing for, I think he had 63 yards rushing. And Josh Allen is a much better rusher with the football than Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes is efficient as a runner. He's closest defender +1 to get first downs. Josh Allen is a home run hitter potentially with the ball in his hands running the football. So it's a matchup thing for me. I don't think that Philly's offense is going to scare Buffalo's defense. And I think that Buffalo on offense, if they do what they did this past Sunday night, I think they're going to be able to do enough to knock off Philly. That's, for me, it's just the matchups.
Fair enough.
I had Buffalo, actually. Like I was real back and forth on this. We're in that stretch now, right? We've spoken about with Buffalo where it's Philly
stretch too.
And it's KC, and I'm trying to remember the other two. It was Philly, KC, Dallas, and I was looking right now. Philly, KC, Dallas, and the Chargers, who our opinions have lowered there a little bit.
Yeah.
And then they still have Miami one time.
Yep.
So I think in the next,
and they already beat the brakes off Miami too.
Right. In the next 4 games, they have to win 2 of these.
Yeah. We're going to learn a lot about Buffalo.
I almost picked this one, but I think they only win 2 of them. And
not this one.
I have the Chargers, and I'm going to let you know next week who I have. It might not be next week, but I definitely have the Chargers, and I think there's another one in there. So I almost picked them because I think they have to turn the corner, right? They have 6 wins. I do still think Buffalo's going to win the division. So
Miami's not running away and hiding. Yeah. No, it was matchups for me. I just think that Buffalo matches up well with the Phillies defense especially, but we'll see.
And see we shall. Chargers at home against the Baltimore Ravens, and Andy on the Baltimore Island.
Why?
Brandon Staley.
Yeah.
I
got faith in him.
I went Chargers because the Ravens are going to miss Mark Andrews a lot. We've seen it in the past. We've seen it in the past. Yeah. They're not a good offense without Mark Andrews. And if they can continue to run the ball, they'll prove me wrong. But without Mark Andrews, there's not a lot of threat on that defense. You're going to stack the box. You're going to spy on Lamar, and you're going to make sure that Gus Edwards and Keaton Mitchell and fucking Justice Hill aren't going to beat you, because Odell Beckham is not the dude anymore, right? He's a shell of himself. And Zay Flowers, despite the fact that like
he fucking just hit me for like 15 points last week in fantasy. This fucking guy.
It was a weird week.
Fuck.
He also got nicked up in that game though, so he may not even be 100%. Zay Flowers, despite flashes, has not been consistent. They're going to miss Mark Andrews a lot, and that's why I went with the Chargers.
I don't know. I think the Ravens are too good. I think this game's a bloodbath. I think
so?
The Chargers haven't. They just lost to Green Bay. I mean, who I don't have a high opinion of. They had a game against Detroit they probably should have won.
Yeah.
And they couldn't. They
gave it away.
They gave up 41 points. Baltimore, yeah, I think this game gets out of hand quick. I still think Baltimore's fine. Like Mark Andrews,
even without Andrews,
yeah, irreplaceable as a tight end. However, I think Baltimore's good enough. My cat freaking out.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on over there, huh?
Yeah, she's a fucking feisty one. I don't know what she's doing, but yeah, they just. I think it's too much offense, too much defense against this fucking Chargers team that always disappoints.
Yeah. Okay.
And now for final game, Chicago, division rivalry, Minnesota Vikings. We're all riding with Minnesota. We're all going for the offspring of two angry, disappointed parents.
I only have one question about this game. How the fuck is this on Monday night?
You've seen these primetime games, right? They haven't been good this year.
I know it's been so bad
dealing with a lot of
because
bullshit.
they've tried to put some on Thursday night. We've had a couple of good Thursday night games, but that makes Sunday night and Monday night suffer because of the TV deal. You get at least one primetime game for like every team or whatever. It's a mess, dude. This can't be a Monday night game.
I don't know, man. I think Detroit has a habit of making bad offenses look good sometimes, but the state of the Vikings too. This might be an entertaining game. Maybe. It really could be. Maybe. I mean, this could be like a 30-35 game, and
maybe.
I wouldn't even be surprised.
Yeah. Maybe.
I don't know.
It doesn't feel like a marquee matchup, though.
Yeah.
It really doesn't.
Fucking, yeah. I'm going to bed early on Monday night.
That's
I'm not going to be watching that shit. I'll be asleep.
I would be because I'm a fucking junkie.
I'm just saying, if I wake up in the morning and I see that it was an all right game,
I'm probably going to fucking wager on the damn thing.
You fucking degenerate.
Yep.
No, wagering on it doesn't mean you're going to watch it.
I usually do.
Do you?
I do.
Just a glutton for punishment then.
Yep.
He's out here like fucking 3 more yards.
Right, exactly.
Catch that pass.
Exactly.
I guess that's the only way games like that are really entertaining is if you have money or stakes in a game.
You got to add some skin.
Yeah, no thanks.
Dude, I listen, when I watched an NBA game last year.
Not on that team.
I needed 1 assist from a guy. 1 assist at the start of the 4th quarter. And I never got it. He was there the whole time. And I was just like, I don't need to watch this shit to be let down. I can just see that he didn't get it tomorrow morning, and it's fine.
Yeah. And you don't know. The box score still reads the same.
I watched Tyrese Maxey just be out there the whole fucking 4th quarter and never get an assist. And I was like, this is fucking disappointing.
That fucking selfish piece of shit, dude.
Tyrese Maxey, too. Jesus.
As soon as Harden came back in the game, I was like, he's never going to have a chance now.
No.
But he had like 4 minutes where he was just out there running the offense.
Yeah.
Fucking Tobias make a shot.
Nothing to be found. Well, folks, got a holiday coming up.
Yes,
so
sir.
I hope you guys enjoy your turkey day with your families. Hope you guys at home enjoy your turkey days with your families. Be sure to tune in next week for another episode of the Blitz. Be sure to check Tailgate Trash Talk. Be sure to check the Rosin Baggers. Be sure to check Backyard Buckets. And then we'll see you guys next week. Does anybody have any closing thoughts? Anything they wanted to add?
Happy Thanksgiving, man.
Fuck the Packers.
There you go. Yeah, there we go. Death Tax is 3rd and long against Jack Del Rio. My name is Raul Herrera. I got Gary. I got Andy Flint Mode with us. Another episode of the Blitz. We'll see you guys next week.